I'm from the bottom of the block where we really gang, where we don't never speak a word, we just let it bang. That's life up in the bottom where we could never hang. It's that before dishonor, swear to God I'll never rank. And boy, I'll never break, I'm built for this just like a tank. You diss me once, homie, you won't get another chance. And I won't even speak a word, I'll just let it blast. I put that on the bottle, homie, that I'm down to smash. And you come and test the water, see if it don't crack. And real G's never switch up, never take the stand. A real G keeps it solid, never rolls with rats. I'm true to the code, homie, never looking back. And ain't no dirt up in my name, homie, those are facts. I keep it G, homie, I don't never have to act. Ain't nothing like these suckers on the net that's spitting cats. Boosting up their name for the fame is considered trash. With the rem, you already knew on where I stand. With the homies posted in the vital daily packing straps. Boy, la vida loca, it be crazy in my habitat. Dead before dishonor is my code and ain't no turning back. Dead before dishonor is my code and ain't no turning back.
G-File.
What up, G-Life? Now wrapping up right here, the Desert Empire. We're now right here in the Coachella Valley. Covering now all the neighborhoods within Coachella. Now Coachella neighborhoods, they run their structure like almost like how Westside Verdugo runs it. You know how it has a similar title, but they're all different gangs, so they're not the same gang. So they're Barrio Coachella Rifa, but have several umbrellas that are different neighborhoods, sub-cliques, you know what I mean? So they're their own neighborhoods, but represent for Barrio Coachella Rifa. But they're all their own individual gangs. Now we're gonna start off with the oldest clica. The oldest one, the originators out of the Coachella Valley, as I was told that they were the first, at least that's what I was told, is the Barrio Coachella Rifa, the 53rd, Avenue 53rd. Now their barrio is located what's between Avenue 52nd and Avenue 53rd. So everything in the middle is what's considered their neighborhood. And from Shady Lane, I would say all the way to Calle Techa. So from Calle Techa all the way to Shady Lane, and then from 52nd all the way to 53rd. 53rd is, you know, where they be doing their thing. That's the avenue where you could find all their activity. Now this neighborhood has given law enforcement a hard time, has made the news a shitload of times. There's mass reports on them. They got hit with gang injunctions. They got hit with sweeps. Coachella even had to ask help from Riverside County sheriffs to combat the neighborhood, because the neighborhood was so large, more than 450 active gang members, more than that. So it's a large neighborhood. Coachella be cracking, man, you know, with multiple murders and all kinds of shit. You know, pretty much the law enforcement, they couldn't do nothing with these guys. They were too much for them. And you know, that's pretty much what was going down, because this neighborhood, like I said, it was keeping it active, you know, with pretty much everything in the book. You already know. Their neighborhood is what consists from Cypress Street, Dos Palmas, Oasis Palm Avenue, Las Palmas Street, Nelson, Morgan, Calle Techa, and so on, from Adam Lane to Lee Lane, to Brenda Lane, to, you know, and all of that is what's considered the neighborhood, house homes and all of that, you know what I mean? Like I said, this neighborhood is the originators, the big dogs in the yard, the ones, like I said, you guys should check out the reports for yourselves. They have several of them on these guys. It ain't no joke, man. When it comes to the 53rds, man, they here handling business, and like I said, they're the originators, the original clica, and continue to represent for theirs right there for the 53rds. Now here we have Barrio Coachella Rifa 52nd. Now the 52nds, not to be confused with Los Projectos, because they are also 52s. They're two different neighborhoods. They're not the same thing. I know people sometimes get them confused. Now you can find the 52nds neighborhood right there on Avenue 52nd. So what's from Arby's, from Harrison Street, from Carrillo Street to to all of that is what's considered their neighborhood. You know what I mean? All the way to Silmar Lane, to Veneta, to Lemon, to Sunset Drive, to all of that is what's considered the Avenue 50 Seconds. And like I said, there is another Coachella neighborhood that writes 50 Seconds, which is Projectos, but these are different from them. I know that they get them confused because they both rep 52nd, Avenue, but they're two whole different gangs. So to not get them confused. The 50 Seconds are pretty large. They're decent size, not too big, not too small. They're average size. One of the ones you roughly don't see them up as much as you do like the other 50 Seconds. But nonetheless, man, these guys are still right here holding it down, representing for their hood, right there in Coachella, and putting it down for the 50 Seconds right there. And here we have one of the more smaller neighborhoods out of Coachella. These probably have to be the more smaller ones. You have the 50 Boys. You can find them close to where the De Oro Park's at. Roughly one of the more smaller cliques. You roughly don't see them up as these other Coachella neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Due to the fact that they haven't been around that long. I was told that they're roughly only like about 30 members. So one of the more smaller sets over here that you can find located on Avenue 50, where they get their name from. But even though they're not as large as these other sets, don't ever get it twisted. They still will handle business. You know what I mean? Now they got hit with a few sweeps that kind of brought their numbers a little bit down. So their neighborhood, is not as large as it was. Well, it was never large, but it's not as active as it used to be. But from time to time, you will still see them up and bump into. Like I said, neighborhoods don't really die; they just multiply. It's pretty much how it goes down. You know what I mean? So the 50 Boys still are right here in Coachella, still representing for theirs and holding it down. Now here we have the 52nd ones that you hear about, which is the Projectos, the PYS 52nd. They're located right here in Coachella, right here in the Coachella project units, in the Coachella community homes, the project sets, pues. Not that many people know that they got project set, but yeah, they do have these low housing incomes, for families like that, right here in Coachella. And this is where you can find the Projectos neighborhood. Proyectos obviously translating to projects in Spanish. And this one is the one that's large. They write 52 obviously because, they expand throughout 52nd. But not to be confused with the Coachella Rifa 52nds. These are the Proyecto ones. Because there is conflict between Coachella neighborhoods. They don't just beef it with Indio neighborhoods, just like Indio neighborhoods, they beef it within themselves as well. It's pretty much how it goes down, and a lot of neighborhoods just crammed up in one spot. Egos start tripping, you know what I mean, and people start clashing. It's pretty much how it goes down. Now these ones are the large ones, the ones that give law enforcement a hard time. Roughly more than 250 members, I was told. These are the ones that you do see hit up. You see the activity by these guys. The one that law enforcement actually is concerned about, because their numbers grow, because they have so many younger members. It's of concern according to them. You know what I mean? This neighborhood just is the active one. You know what I mean? It's probably the most active one out of all the Coachella neighborhoods, in my opinion. From the reports and everything that shows, these guys definitely do a whole lot. You know what I mean? Everything in the book. So these guys do keep this area pretty active. The projects ain't no joke, homie. You know what I mean? You come over here tripping, they gonna lay it down. But that's what's up with the Barrio Coachella, the projects, right here representing for theirs on 52nd, and holding it down. And here's another old school set out of Coachella. You have Coachella Tiny Locos, the CTL neighborhood. The CTL neighborhood is pretty old school, well-known clica right here in Coachella. Now, their neighborhood is located was 1st Street to Cesar Chavez. Or Harrison Street, and then from Harrison Street I would say all the way to 6th Street, and from 6th Street I would say all the way to Grapefruit Boulevard. So everything that's in the middle is considered their neighborhood, you know what I mean? Close to the Coachella Veterans Park is where you can find them. running around doing their thing, from palms to fourth, third, second, orchard, palm, vine, second, third, fourth, fifth, all of that. All of that is what's considered their neighborhood. You know what I mean? All those back streets and all of that is where you can find the Coachella Tiny Lokes. You know what I mean? One of the more larger ones as well. This is one of the clicas that you do hear about that's larger numbers. That definitely, obviously, they're different from the rest because the rest right at Coachella, Barrio Coachella Rifa, but it's Coachella Tiny Locos. So there is a change in the name of it right here. You know what I mean? So not to be confused with the rest. The Tiny Lokes. Put theirs on the map. Definitely hold it down and represent. You know what I mean? This is another one of the clicas that's large in numbers and keeps it active. And has been already right here for a cool minute. I was told since 70s, late 70s, early 80s. What I was told, this neighborhood was established. Like I said, Coachella 53rd is the oldest out of the Coachella barrios, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, homie, these guys, have also been right here, leaving their mark and putting it down for theirs. And now right here, we have one of the more newer ones. It's not as old school as like the 53rd or the Tiny Loke, but you have the Barrio Nuevo Coachella, the VNC neighborhood. VNC, one of the neighborhoods of Coachella that, tends to beef with the other, some of the other Coachella sets. That's just how it goes. But they roughly have a pretty, large territory as well. You can find them all the way to Harris Street, from Harris to 6th, from 6th to Avenue 52nd, and from Avenue 52nd, I would say to Grapefruit Boulevard. So what's Vine, 8th, 7th, Data, Baghdad, Carrillo, RB, all of that that's, close to the middle school, close to the Data Land Park, all of that's what's considered their neighborhood, the Barrio Nuevo Coachella. Now, it's not as, obviously, because it's not as old school some of the other sets, so they're not as large, but they do have a presence. You do hear about them. I was told that this neighborhood is roughly about 70 heads, so, a little bit more on the more smaller size, but nonetheless, homie, they hold their ground, they do their thing, you hear about them. These guys ain't no suckers, you know what I mean? So they continue to represent for theirs right there in the Barrio Nuevo Coachella. Now, right here in Thermal, you have Barrio Thermal Rifa. Now, Barrio Thermal Rifa is the only neighborhood within Thermal. You know what I mean? Now, Thermal in itself it's not that much of a large area. You know what I mean? But they do, nonetheless, it may not be large or whatever, but the neighborhood, since it's the only neighborhood right here, it does have a large presence, you know what I mean? Since, that's the one that everyone tends to gravitate to, you know what I mean? Well, since being you have other neighborhoods, that, where their members, like, move there, to live and stuff like that, but not like, as in, that actually, them starting a neighborhood right there, like a sub clica of theirs, you know what I mean? It only belongs to them, you know what I mean? So you don't have them, you have like their enemies that will travel to make the drive to, get it on and popping and stuff like that. But for them to actually establish right there, a part of their neighborhood, has yet to be seen. Now, you do find them on 56. 56 is where you can find them. That's their dojo, their main domain. As a matter of fact, why you see it hit up as well. But their neighborhood is from Polk, all the way to Airport Boulevard. And from Airport Boulevard, I would say to Olive Street. From Olive Street, I would say all the way to Grapefruit. So everything that's in the middle was considered their neighborhood. From Center Street to Olive Street, to Church Street. Everything right there that's in the middle is what's considered their neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like I said, they run a big chunk of territory, but their main domain also, their breeding ground, is the Thermal Park. That's where they tend to be chilling and doing their thing. You know what I mean? Through Church and Olive Street, and Polk. That's more where you're gonna find more of their activity by these guys. You know what I mean? They do lurk around, throughout the whole thing, but that's more of their breeding ground, their home dojo. what be going on. Like I said, this neighborhood, it's pretty large, more than 120 members. So, it does have numbers in its side. And, they've been right here already since the 80s and continue to represent theirs and putting theirs on the map. And another neighborhood that you have within this area, now this one being a more smaller neighborhood, I was told that they're roughly only about 40 members. You have the Barrio Mecca Rifa, VMR, not to be confused with Mecca Vineyard, two different neighborhoods. Barrio Mecca is located actually right here in Mecca. Their neighborhood is what consists of Lincoln Street all the way to 66th Street, 66th Street all the way to 65th Street, and all the way to Johnson Street. So everything that's in the middle is considered the neighborhood. So what's close to the elementary, what's close to the Mecca Sports Complex Park, and through all those back ends is where you can find them. Data Palm Street, 4th, 5th, Brown Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, all of that, Holmes Avenue, it's what's considered the Barrio Mecca Rifas neighborhood. It's a large chunk of territory, but like I said, this neighborhood has roughly always been a small neighborhood, only about 40 heads. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more in the distance, away from like the Coachella barrios and all of that. But don't ever get it twisted, homie. Just because they're not be as large as some of these other neighborhoods doesn't mean nothing, you know what I mean? They'll still get it on and cracking, and they still represent for theirs, for that Barrio Mecca Rifa right there. And right here we have one of the more active neighborhoods within over here, the Coachella Valley. This neighborhood definitely is active. You definitely see them up. You definitely hear about these guys. These guys ain't no suckers. You have the Oasis gang. Oasis being the boulevard with that stretches out right there. You can find them on 76th Avenue. 76th Avenue is their home dojo, their main terrain. Where they get it on and cracking. That's why you sometimes see it up as just the O, you know what I mean, 013, or you see it 76. It's not two different neighborhoods. I know people get it confused. It's actually one whole neighborhood, the same neighborhood. O obviously standing for Oasis Boys, Oasis Gang. And then the 76 referring to 76th Avenue, because that's their home domain, their dojo throughout 76th Avenue and all those back streets. Is what you could, call, their barrio. They're roughly large in size, you know what I mean? I was told that they're roughly more than 100 and something members, so they do have numbers on their side. They're very active, more of a younger neighborhood, you know what I mean? So they got fresh blood, so they out there and they doing their thing, homie, grinding and battling it on. You know what I mean? These guys ain't no chumps, no suckers. They get it popping, you know what I mean? It's one of the neighborhoods that gives law enforcement a hard time with, burglaries and carjackings and vandalizing, graffiti and all that. According to the reports, they tend to have some of the more the younger members, according to the reports. And so apparently this gang, man, definitely does their thing, homie. They keep it active on this side, you know what I'm saying? Can't lie with the reports, you know what I mean? These guys definitely be getting on and cracking. That's what's up with the Oasis 76 right there, Avenue, and representing for theirs.